What's going on, DFS Trash Talkers? I'm your girl, Nita Rodriguez. Thank you for tuning in as always. Bringing you Week Five's NFL Under the Radar Plays of the Week. We will recap last week as always. Today, as you can see, I'm doing my podcast uh, in the kids' room because I decided to let them take over the living room. Anyway, so to recap our plays from last week, we had Baker Mayfield, who actually didn't do too bad, but he got us 16 fantasy points. And when you're playing large field GPPs, we're always looking for the high upside, low under owned play. And last week that was him. However, that's not what he gave us. He gave us 16 fantasy points. And there were plenty of the QBs that did way better. We also had Scary Terry, aka Terry McLaurin. Can't even say his name correctly. Anyway, so we had him. He gave us 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, so he did his thing. We also had DK Metcalf, who did his thing. And then we had Lance Thomas, who was, he basically shit the bed. And he basically let us know after first quarter that he was hurt. He couldn't go no more. So once again, we had somebody in our lineup who got hurt. So that's 4 weeks in a row that we've taken someone and they basically got hurt in the first week. So let's try to change that in week 5. We're hoping for some great under-owned plays that are flying under the radar, that are going to give us some upside in GPPs. Remember, the plays are for GPP. The plays are for under the radar. We're not choosing people who are 10, 15, 20% owned. That is not the point of under the radar. So if you don't understand that, or if you don't play GPP, if all you play is cash games, this video might not be for you. I say that because I keep getting people asking, well, why didn't I pair so-and-so with so-and-so? Or why didn't I choose this person? Please feel free to make your own videos. But I am here to help as best as I can. And again, my plays are GPP plays only. I am not here to talk y'all through the entire slate. I'm not here to say which plays are the best when it comes to cash. GPP only. We're looking for under the radar plays. We're looking for players who are going to give us some ceiling, 30, 40 point upside. And yes, some of the plays today might not seem that way, but their game script will allow them to at least get there, especially with the injuries that we currently have. Okay, so let's kick it off at QB. In QB, I decided that it was either going to be Mac Jones, who is going against Houston, or it was going to be Trevor Lawrence. And the last time we chose Trevor Lawrence, he did all right. He actually put up 51 attempts and on that first week that we chose him. And that was his first game, you know. He wasn't going to be like the number one QB that week, but he had some upside for GPPs. And guess what? He has that same upside this week, and that's what we're going to go with. Trevor Lawrence, he's 5,800, and this time he's even cheaper when we're choosing him. But he's 5,800 on DraftKings and 6,500 on FanDuel. So, in looking at that, for GPP purposes, right, he has the sixth best point per dollar tag at QB. Okay, and that is on DraftKings and FanDuel. All right, he projects for 2% ownership across all sites. He projects for 18 to 20 fantasy points. That is his floor. Now, if he can get it popping against a horrible Tennessee secondary, then we could basically take advantage of that if we want to. So, since week 1, his pass attempts are 51, 33, 34, and 24. The last week he threw 24 because he didn't have to throw that much. And I feel with Tennessee probably going to work Derrick Henry and run up the score, he's going to need to throw. He's going to need to get out in the lead. He's going to need to take advantage of a horrible secondary in Tennessee. And I say that because Tennessee, they have cornerbacks they're using this week that don't even rank in the top 50. They don't even rank in the top 100. So pick Trevor Lawrence. He has potential to get us to where we need to be at in GPPs. Okay. Also, Jacksonville is giving up the 14th most fantasy points to QB. And that's about 20.52 points. That's a 5-point difference than what he gets right now. And that's only his projection. All right. They also have allowed, Tennessee has allowed 1,067 passing yards within the last 4 weeks. And they allow a 61% touchdown, passing touchdown rate. So let's throw Trevor Lawrence in some GPPs and let's see what he can do for us. Moving on to wide receiver, and I know this may tickle a couple of people, or maybe you just don't like the plays. Don't play them. But we're going to go with 2 plays because one of them is actually a FanDuel play only because that's where his ownership is under 5%. But on DraftKings, his ownership is around 11%. So be cautious with that. Again, we're doing this video on a Saturday now because ownership projections are just too far out on a Thursday to determine if the play is still going to be under the radar. All right, so our next plays, and I'm giving you 2, they're coming from the Giants. Okay, it's going to be John Ross and Kadarius Toney. I had to make sure I wrote that correctly because you just never know. John Ross, okay, nobody knew who he was last week, and yet he still scored a touchdown. Why? Because the Giants are missing Shepard and Slayton, okay? 2 main weapons that they are used to having. And Galladay's been injured. Galladay is still injured. Don't let him not having a questionable tag fool you. They already said he wasn't going to play all the snaps. They already said he would be limited because he is playing hurt. Remember what I said. So, John Ross is 3,400 on DraftKings, and he is 5,200 on FanDuel. Kadarius Toney is 4,000 on DraftKings, 5,300 on FanDuel. All right, both of those players are flying under 1% ownership, but Toney is flying, and I always call them by the last names, but Toney is flying on DraftKings at 11%. Remember that. And I just feel that they will have to throw. Okay. They're playing Dallas. Dallas secondary. All their cornerbacks are in the bottom of the barrel. Okay. Out of 120 cornerbacks, I think 2 of them are like 103rd. And something else. But anyway, the point is Dallas is allowing a lot of fantasy points. And we need to take advantage of that if we want to be ahead of the field on their ownership. So through 4 weeks, both of those wide receivers have caught where did I put it? Okay, 19 They had 13 targets, 9 receptions for 155 yards and a touchdown. And that's just 1 week between the both of them. So they're both fantasy relevant, especially if Galladay isn't playing all the snaps and basically will be on the sidelines for half the game. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of Dallas allowing the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers a game. Through the last four weeks, they also allowed the 9th most fantasy points to wide receivers, allowing 1,261 passing yards through 4 weeks. They also allow a 76.5% passer rating or pass percentage through the air. And they also allow a 81% passing touchdown. So Dallas, who seemingly depends on their offense a lot, they will basically be throwing the entire game. And when they throw, that means Miss Daniel Jones is going to have to throw too. Okay, yes, Saquon will be probably in that mix, but these are cheap wide receivers who are going to be getting a lot of looks. They're going to be playing from behind most likely. They are only projected to win by 3 points, so this game should be a shootout. This game is one of two games that only has a 50 total and above. One of two. The other game is the Green Bay and Cincinnati game. Let that sit in. Moving along, we are going to do our last and final pick, and that is going to be at tight end. And at tight end, we're going to pick Mike Gesicki on the Miami Dolphins. The reason we're going with Mike Gesicki, he's 4,200 on DraftKings, 5,600 on FanDuel, and projected for 5% ownership across all sites. Okay, there are plenty of tight ends in great spots. There's about 3 to 4 other tight ends. But this is a tight end who doesn't share his responsibilities on offense with anybody. And if you're not sharing your offense, then that means, your target share, then that means you're getting all the looks. That means you're going to make sure that they look for you in the red zone. They look for you downfield. He gets to run as many routes as he needs to get that ball. And he is being looked for in the red zone. So make sure you have you some Mike Gesicki. Also, Tampa Bay's given up third most fantasy points through the air and to tight ends. They've given up 1,310 passing yards on the season so far in the last 4 weeks. And they allow a 75.29% passer percentage. And they allow the second most passing touchdowns in the NFL. So make sure you have some shares of Mike Gesicki. Make sure that you're taking advantage of the field being underweight on him. And that's where we're going to end our under the radar plays. I wish I could give you guys some more plays, but I love that we've been keeping this simple lately. So thank you for tuning in. You can always reach us at DFS Trash Talk on Twitter. And if you can't reach us on there, you can always reach me on my personal Twitter at Nita's World _ I'm your girl, Nita Rodriguez. Thank you for tuning in as always. Don't forget to put your lineups in on time. Lock starts at 1. These are under the radar plays. Remember, GPP only. Thank you for tuning in. I'm out.